Hello there, everybody. Welcome back here to, I can now say, the award-winning Girls Run These Worlds streaming Twitch channel. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to say that, and it's an absolute pleasure to have those of you who are here early and those of you who will be with us or are watching on VODs, because those are very important. We shout you out too. We love you. To Monster Care Squad, our Saturday game, where we are continuing our Year of the Tempest series here with our fantastic Monster Care Squad vets here. We have our whole cast back. Our fantastic Minnie has recovered, or at least is stable enough to be here with us. We love her. We are so happy to have her back and not be sick. I'm just really happy to have her back. We missed you so much, Minnie. It's so good to have you back. We have our full group here. And most importantly, we have a full group here for what is going to be a very exciting penultimate episode of our series, at least possibly season 1. We'll see if there's a season 2 in the future. Maybe. Well, this will be a thing I'll need to talk with folks about, but we'll see. But on that note, before we can continue into all of this, we have to get ourselves reacquainted for the potentially second to last time with our players. So say who you are, pronouns, and who you will be playing. We're going to pass it off to the person who I know is not going to be ready first, Gask.
I am ready this time. Hello, my name is Gaskinator. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Aster, who also goes by she, her pronouns. I've already had the spotlight cast on me, baby. I'm just here to have some good forest time in this primeval forest, get dragged down to this lake by a seaweed horse. We're gonna have fun.
Fantastic. And let's pass it on over to our constant fan favorite, because everyone's actually a fan favorite, but is also one of my favorite players of all time, Rue.
It's me, it's Rue. Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. My pronouns are she, her. I play Ganon, whose pronouns are also she, her. And she is a sheltered academic just trying to cope with outside of the classroom. she'll be okay. Don't worry about her.
She's fine. She's fine for now, I guess. And speaking of fine, and absolutely fantastic, we're going to pass it on over to our beloved Minnie.
Oh, shucks. Hey, everybody. I'm Minnie. My pronouns are she, her, and I will be playing Garuk. His pronouns are he, him, and he is an aquaculture dad bod super dad of twins and loves helping creatures with his water powers.
Fantastic. Crop Dad is back. And also, last but not least, our other fine ball of chaos, love, joy, and all things mycological, Nikki.
Hey, everybody. I'm Nikki. I'll be playing Farley with they, them pronouns. Sorry, I'm not wearing my mushroom hat today. I threw out my back and it hurts too much. So sorry about that.
I am right there with you. It really hurts to be sitting in this chair right now, but I love you all, and it is a bearable pain. So thank you so much, everyone who is here. It makes my heart so full to have a full cast again. I missed all of you. I'm just going to gush about you for a second. Okay, now time to kill everybody.
What's it like having back pain? I'm so young and spry. It would never happen to me.
I'll have you know I've had arthritis in my spine since I was 16 years old. So how dare.
I was gaslit in being told that I had back pain since I was 14. So yeah, it's not good.
I'll have you know I have a future of back pain due to my family. We have a family history. So with all of that personal medical information out of the way, let's get back into setting the tone for where we are at as we bring ourselves into this next session. Our group of Monster Care Vets has been traveling across the continent of Agni, dealing with what has been an ongoing rash of essentially rage-inducing storms, kind of referred to thoughtfully by academics in the most fancy way possible as the Rains of Rancor, and that seemingly has a divine connection and origin point to it from what the vets have been able to discover from literally freeing a pair of deities from the forms of local fauna that have been both over in Backfire and over in the mountain range of A Warrior's Downfall, they discovered that one of the deities of the northern region of Chantico may be trapped somewhere that they cannot get out of. And as a result of that, the group is trying to find whatever leads they can in order to figure out how to stop that situation from being what it is, and making sure that the whole of the continent is going to be safe in the meantime. To that end, they have pursued a lead to another rather large creature sighting to the chaotic, ever-shifting region known as the Primeval Garden. The place said to be the life will of the primeval maiden who the party had met earlier during their first and second session together. Having arrived in this place, they have gotten a glimpse of the creature, a snout that appears to be very horse-shaped, and tails of a kind of enchanting gaze of eyes seemingly having almost pulled in one of their party. With that being the case, the group is going to launch into their investigative phase to try and get more information, having had one success and one failure on a clock of 4. And with that being the case, we jump right into Episode 5, Session 5, Thus We Gazed Upward. This will become clear later on. You will remember this. But with that being the case, we've had the party looking into some of the abilities of this with the one success, the party having seen a terrifying demonstration of the creature's entrancing abilities. I think it was Farley who had last had that experience and was thankfully pulled out of the way successfully. But you're in the midst of your diagnosis phase, so you have any number of moves you can use to try and progress your clock, as well as try and get some sense of what this creature is about and what might be affecting it. So, my fantastic monster care vets, who would like to take charge in this occasion and take the first go to follow up from last session?
So, okay, I know that Farley just nearly got their ass dragged into water and drowned, but like what else have we garnered in terms of information, just so I can think of something that Garuk might want to take the head on?
As far as you can tell, it's aquatic. It's
Okay.
something, you know, that it has been sighted around a lot of the water around here, and that it has that entrancing effect. And you've seen, you've heard tell of, like, I think Farley catching like the end of a horse nose. But that's about all the core information you got. A lot of from what people were able to give you was just mainly the entrancing effect. So you know that that's a dangerous part of this creature, is that you don't know if it's like literally pulling you in and you're just not aware of it. If it's like a daze effect, you don't know if it's like a charm effect. You just know that it has the ability to start pulling you in. So you have to be very careful about how you approach it.
Okay.
Or figure out a way to distract it.
The people in the area have also been having like dreams of feelings of being drowned, right?
Yes.
Mm.
That has been that has been the most terrifying part of that entrancing effect. The effect beyond just feeling that drowning sensation is that people suddenly disappear after they report that, or if they escape, that's the biggest thing they remember. Like, nobody remembered the horse nose thing. They just remembered the drowning sensation.
Okay. And then I know it's near water, but nothing centralized. It's not mostly near this town. It's kind of just water in general.
Well, here's the thing. The forest has, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It has 4 kind of main zones to it, roughly. It has the swamp region, which Farley would be able to let you know is home to a notorious pair of families who have been fighting for ages with one another over a dried out piece of land that has no use whatsoever. It used to be a river and now it's just muck, but they've been fighting over it since, I think, the 3rd kindling. So the 3rd time era. You're in the 10th, if that gives you a sense of how long they've been fighting. They've just had a grudge. The swamp has had that. There is the main settlement of Heartbrook Village that is home to a lot of the more nature magic inclined individuals. There is the Darrow River Pod, which is home to the Selkie communities that live here in the forest, the inland Selkie communities, pardon. And then there is just the majority of the forest itself, which is dangerous to navigate in and of itself unless you have a local like Farley, because it tends to shift and change on a whim. Like you will enter and look back to where you entered and you will not see where you entered anymore. It just does that.
Interesting. Okay. Since we've already talked to and gotten some information from the locals, I wonder if Garuk can work on something with Kanan, and actually since he does aquaculture, I'm wondering if we can kind of put our heads together to check this body of water that Farley nearly got dragged into and see if there's any residual differences in the water, to see if there's any magical elements there so we can figure out what is actually afflicting this creature.
I like that. So that would probably be treasured insight in that case. So when someone on your team is on the verge of a breakthrough and you have a relevant training or background, roll plus stat. So yeah, I think that would make sense. That would be a nice team maneuver between the two of you. So roll the stat that you think is most relevant to what you're doing. And depending on what you get, we'll see how it goes.
Okay. I am going to say I'm going to roll acuity because he has a contraption. So it's, he makes stuff to work on his farm. So he's doing kind of similar things that he would do on his farm to kind of check the natural water level.
Makes sense. Are we both rolling treasured insight, or is that just
so here's how it's going to work, because I just reread the move. One of you rolls to benefit the other on a move that they're going to do. So okay, in that case, the order might be reversed. So Kanan, if you want to roll something that you think would be relevant with a relevant training, and then Garuk, whatever move you follow from that, you will have a benefit to it depending on what Kanan gets. So Kanan, what would you like to do in order to try and help Garuk? Because it looks like Garuk and you are kind of double teaming this, and this seems like the best setup move for that.
Cool. Let me think. I'm between her just using her grit or acuity, her analysis or medical research, but there's a part of me that's almost like maybe I should use my allure because I have a minus in team communication. And I think in this situation, Ganon is a little freaked out because of what's going on. Like after seeing Farley almost pulled in and Aster almost pulled in, she's a little like, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up for creatures to be present in front of me, ready for me to work, not for some weird thing to pull me underwater.
That makes sense to me.
So if I go in there, all my books are going to get wet.
Yeah, so I think she's like maybe attempting one of the other things, but instead she's like, okay, I guess I'll try to like talk things out with Garuk, and instead she's just like half rambling, like half giving some information that's useful and half like, I did not sign up for this. I brought my inhaler, but I didn't bring my special inhaler, and my allergy meds are all at home. I'm really sniffly, and like is like rubbing her eyes, and then like
I think I can't that works.
See my notes anymore. Can you roll these?
That makes perfect sense to me. I think in the situation that is narratively appropriate and mechanically interesting. So let's try it. So roll in 2d6 minus that 1, and let's see what you get.
Yeah. Oh boy, I got a 2 and a 3. I have a -1, so it's a 4.
So you will not hinder because it does not have. There's no component in the move that hinders. This will count as this will. Actually, I don't think this necessarily counts as a failure on your track either, because this isn't necessarily into something. I will put the failure on Garuk's roll, but you are not able to provide a benefit. And I think it's fair to say, Garuk, it's just like you have to go almost into maybe dad mode to calm Ganon down.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. At this point, Garuk had this idea, and then the moment that Ganon starts like breaking down, Garuk just instantly triggers into like dad mode. Is like, no, Miha, it's fine. It's okay. We're gonna get flotation
Where
devices
were
for
you when
everyone.
there was a stone bird? We were looking for you. Like the Ganon goes totally into like baby mode. She's just like, you weren't there when we needed you.
I know, Miha. I'm so sorry. The gods
He was
needed me
looking
for a
his
second.
wedding ring, remember?
And by
I
the
don't
gods, I mean my
care.
wife not killing me and my husband burying me.
I'll
It's-
kill you if I die here, Karuk.
It's okay, Miha. I got it. It's fine. He's literally like a one arm around her as he's like mixing water concoctions to like check the water pressure.
Okay, so Garuk, I think if you're trying to investigate, I would say it's either in harm's way or follow the trail. Both of those, I think, would be appropriate to what, because you're trying to test the water to see if there's anything residual to it. I think both of those, depending on which one you want to flavor it as, would be appropriate to fit your intended action.
I would say the trail is probably the best one.
Okay, so let's roll that 2d6 plus acuity and let's see what happens.
Ooh. I have an 11.
Jesus Christ.
I kick into
on a
dad
10, you
mode
reach the end of
so
the
hard. I'm so good.
Yeah. You reach the end of the trail without much trouble. Ask the guide what you find or tell them yourself. So I can tell you exactly a thing, or you can make up something else about it, and I will adjust stuff to make that appropriate. But it is your call.
I think he's so he's focused on both things about like helping Kanan and like checking this pressure that I think he's just kind of like whatever he instantly sees is what he's gonna go with. So if you can tell me whatever he sees, that would be great.
Okay, so this will so first of all, you get a success. So you have 2 segments on the clock success, 1 a failure. So you still have 1 more segment to fill out. But as you start, you're also the swimmer of the group, correct, Karuk? So you are able to actually go swimming down. Like I imagine it's one of those things where like Kanan potentially has to like gets you mentioned the like, honey, we might have to swim, and Kanan like is like, nope, not gonna do it, not gonna do it. And then that
you can't leave me. You can't go.
Garuk's like, I'll be back. Just goes down just a little bit because you already know how dangerous it is in there, but you catch more of a glimpse of this thing. It is the shape of like a full-on like horse, but it's several sections of its body. It's like a stitched together kind of piece, but imagine like seaweed and vines forming the actual points where the stitches are coming together. But because that was a big success, I'm going to give you 2 things on it. One, you notice the mane, like the horsehair, the mane for where its hair would be. There's fungi like stitched throughout it, and it's leaving a residue in the water that you know from having interacted with a lot of other like sea anemone kind of like creatures. That you know how some sea anemone, like a clownfish, is fine to be around a sea anemone because it's immune to like the paralysis and poisonous effects of the feelers. You have a strong suspicion that getting anywhere near those spores, it's a poisonous effect. So it has poisonous spores as an aspect of this fungal mane that it has. And you don't get a very good glimpse of it, but you see as it's stitching together and it looks in your direction and it starts to swim away, 2 of the biggest pieces are starting to stitch together. In the center of its body, right before it stitches back together, you see something that looks crystalline and like a heart. There's a crystal heart being wrapped around by the vines forming the body. You think this might be part of the infectious. This is the source of the actual corruption and infection. That was a really big success. So I really wanted to give you a lot with that. But you know that this thing is like, this is elusive and getting anywhere near it is very dangerous.
Yes. Okay.
There is no need for a synthesis phase. We just go straight to symbiosis, get Kanan to rip the heart with her bare hands, and that's it.
As I'm running away, you just like flip me
Crying the
over,
whole
and I
time.
like run into it instead.
See, I had a vision of the Kill Bill 5-point palm exploding heart technique instead.
But it's on a horse.
You know what? TTRPGs are fun sometimes because you get phrases like using the 5-point palm exploding heart technique on a seaweed horse.
Mm.
These
Just
are our
pulling out
lives,
my
everybody.
Taijutsu, my Naruto Taijutsu. Like,
It's
rip
just
off
Rock
part of the
Lee
seaweed
speed
and
all of a
tie it.
sudden, but through the water, just hitting
Don't
it.
forget to
I
throw your
dro-
arms behind you when you run.
I drop all my books and it like leaves a crater underneath me.
Yeah, no.
Just all of it's instead of Gara, it's a fucking water horse with seaweed. Instead of sand, it's seaweed. Oh my god.
Garuk just sitting
I
in
wish I
the
was an
crowd
animator.
like Guy Sensei, just so proud.
Okay.
That's what I taught her.
So that is a big success on your part. So you have a sense of what two potential wounds are: a crystal heart and a fungal mane. You don't quite know what the third one is just yet, but you are in a much better position to try and understand what is wrong with this thing.
Okay. When I saw the fungal infection, and just because I know it was at a distance and water tends to get really dark unless it's very clear water, did I happen to see like a coloration or like a tint to the fungal infection?
You know what? Let's go classic nature. I'm trying to remember the color of those frogs that are like uniquely like, don't touch this because it's like blue or like a purple that it's like, don't. This looks inviting. Don't touch it. For the love of God, don't touch it unless you like to die instantly. It's that level of like the water coloration, but because it's below the surface, it's not as easily identifiable because everything's normally murky.
Mm-hmm.
But you're used to being in the sea a lot because you chose the ability to just be really fucking good at underwater swimming. So in that case, because you are so used to it, you are uniquely capable of like being under there without having too much issue with sight. And you do notice there is a coloration. And you also get the sense that possibly some of these things affecting it, it could be an aspect of using supplies that you have available to neutralize some of the worst effects of the wounds.
Okay.
So, for example, the spores, you think if you are willing to find some materials amongst some of your party's respective resources, you might be able to neutralize at least the spores. It won't get rid of the mane all by itself, but you might be able to get rid of whatever effect that would be.
Yeah. Okay. Then when Garuk breaches the water and like tosses his ponytail back like Ariel, he will inform everyone of the situation. And then specifically, as he doesn't even like wash, he doesn't even like dry off like a wet dog. He just kind of like slops onto the water and is not even flicking water off of him. He just turns to Farley and then starts describing the coloration of the fungal situation and how it could possibly have an effect on us. So we need to take care of that real good.
Okay.
Okay. So with that being the case, need the next person to do what will be the last move for diagnosis, because that will determine whether this last segment is going to be a success or a failure. So who wants to take the last move on for this situation, for this phase?
He is. Farley? Because otherwise I might just try my bond move, but I don't know how that's going to work on a thing that's also trying to bond with me maliciously.
Yeah, and underwater.
Mm.
I mean, we
Try
could
it
do
and
that
we'll
as
see.
a combo thing.
Yeah, try it and see. I remember, as I've stated probably early on, and I will reiterate, I, in the most eloquent way I can put it, like bullshit. I really like bullshit. Just justify the bullshit to me a little bit, and then we'll be
I
good.
did last week, and you said that my speech and debate didn't count for drowning out something. I can't remember. I think it was the hymn that was going on inside the crown. My speech and debate
I
skills.
think I found that a little not quite. If it were music training or singing a song, I would have given it to you, but not just speech and debate. I'm not going to give it to you for that one. I like bullshit, and I like letting you have your way. I will still say no.
Believable bullshit.
Yes, we'll add the caveat: believable bullshit.
Oh, dang.
Well, what I could do is here's what I got, and just kind of like from what I experienced and from what Garuk has told me about what he saw under there, I can probably reason out a little bit about what's going on, what I can kind of like see from everything that's going on and what I know about this area.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Here's what I got. So that'll be plus acuity.
That's a 10.
Jesus Christ, everyone
Big
started
rolls,
strong today.
no
So
whammies.
here's what I got. So on a 10 plus, pick 2. So you can mark a clock segment successful, gain a session ace, you know where the monster's headed next, and learn the name and effects of 1 wound. So you get to pick 2.
I think I'll take a session ace. I think that will be
You want
useful.
to finish the clock segment?
Yeah,
or do you
and I'll
want
finish the
something
clock
else?
segment.
Okay, so the party has a session ace. So Farley, based off the information that Garuk has gotten you and your prior knowledge, you get the full detail on that main. That main is likely responsible for the creature's disorienting gaze. You get the sense that it's a set of spores that are known for a particularly hallucinogenic sort of after effect in people who take it in. And as a result of that, it both creates a poisonous aura around it, and also it makes it very difficult for anyone. It creates a natural effect within the creature that it's around or that's constantly imbibing it that produces that effect naturally whenever it looks at something. So you get the sense the full extent of wound number 2, fungal main, is poison spores and disorienting gaze. And I'll say, because you rolled a 10-2, the full information you get along with that is that any of your rolls trying to cure this that are made with fine or acuity while this wound is active will be -1. So this one is significant.
Okay.
And I think you have enough experience that problem of a -1, that might not be only present in the fungal main. Maybe one of the other wounds has a similar effect as well. But you do have a strong sense that at least the spores, you could get rid of that effect by neutralizing it with a supply. But no matter what, you have a success. And you know that the full extent of wound number 2 fungal main is poison spores and disorienting gaze that will penalize fine and acuity rolls. Because this is, again, this is where you grew up. This is where you know a lot of the material around here, and Garuk's just sort of giving you the baseline you needed to know where to proceed from it. It's like, because you know so much, it could be 1,000 things, but Garuk is giving you just enough specific information to narrow it down.
He like draws the little shape of it like in the mud. It's like this.
Farley's gonna bring out a cork board with like pictures and red string and be like, I see.
Perfect. Teamwork.
It makes the dream work.
So, with that being the case, the clock is filled with 3 successes and 1 failure. with that being the case, we are going to move on to prognosis. When the clock is full and it's time to move on, we check it. If more than one segment is marked success, I need someone to roll plus successful segments. Now, if you want, I can roll it and you can take responsibility entirely away from the group for it being an issue, or we can have someone in the group and then you can blame that person. It's your call,
I want to
folks.
roll.
Let's do it, Gask.
Well, that's going to be a
this is
great idea.
This is a +3. This is a +3 because you have 3 segments that are success.
You can do it. I believe in you.
No
Okay,
whammies.
so what am I rolling?
It's 2d6. It's the usual 2d6
plus 3,
roll,
okay.
but it's going to be +3 this time because
Okay.
I made the clock bigger and you filled out more successes than failures.
Okay, 15, easy. Wait, 6 plus 3, 9. Okay.
9. Okay.
I saw the 2 and I almost cried.
On a 7 to 9, either gain a critical ace or ask the guide one question about the cure. So which one do you want?
Remind me again. Critical ace is
Critical ace, gonna pull that one up over here. Critical ace, if you completely succeed at the diagnosis synthesis phase, you get a critical ace. This is the same as session ace, but it represents some kind of special preparation you've made, only be used during the symbiosis phase. Instead of a D4, it's a D8 you add to your roll.
I think I like that because I kind of want us to be more independent and cut off on this one, I guess. Because we're in the primeval garden.
That makes sense.
You know?
Yeah. I think Aster has we've sort of done the description of like wild child, but also is pretty well versed in like a lot of flora and fauna that are kind of weird because the mountain range is a pretty weird place.
Yeah.
I think you actually might have the best chance, I think, to represent like your critical ace of everyone, of knowing how to balance like the knowledge of how dangerous this thing is, as well as how to physically interact around it without immediately suffering the effects that will represent your critical ace. So Aster, you are the most uniquely, of everyone here, you have the most practical experience for this creature.
I've just been like hiding in the mud, like with the 2 streaks across my face, just sinking down, being like, don't worry guys, I'm on it. You guys are actually studying and stuff.
Everyone starts talking about the monster and Aster goes full predator and just like Arnold in the jungle, just like covered. I dig it.
The group looks away for a second and Aster's gone and they just hear a really loud like primal yell somewhere deep in the forest and like, Aster, you okay, bud?
Farouk's
Okay.
like, yes. She's on the trail. That's her I got an idea voice.
It's like,
I know that scream.
I couldn't be more proud as a dad.
A scream that goes for 5 minutes uninterrupted and then abruptly cuts out. That must be Aster.
So, with that being the case, you have been successful at your diagnosis phase. So now it comes to synthesis phase. This is a matter of trying to figure out what you can that might be useful nearby to create an actual cure for 3 wounds, 2 of which you have confirmation on.
If anybody has ideas, I think I might assist with my I hope this works, where I can help improvise. If like someone's working towards a cure, I can improvise part of it.
I have 2 different moves that I think would be useful for this. I took an upgrade this time. So I've got monster upgrade. I can find anything. You found a grain of sand in a haystack once. Wherever you are searching or whatever you are searching for will now be a cinch. Replace the original rules with these updated rules. On a +10, you find a treasure cache, gain 3 supply. On a 7 to 9, you find an abandoned camp, gain 2 supply. On a 6 or below, you find something that needs your help. And then I've also got monster upgrade plantkin. I'm so deeply attuned to life forms or plant life forms that you can sense them from great distances, including how they feel, if they're thirsty, hungry, in need of light, etc. This way you always know what to bring to them, to bring to the field to gain favor with the plants who hold the medicine you need. So either of those would probably work for getting something to this monster that it might need. That was a weird noise you just made, Abigail. You okay?
If you find the plant, I could also do like a take on the world, like because most likely it's going to be a dangerous plant to try and like get it. If you want to do plantkin and then that, I guess.
Yeah, let's do that. Maybe I'll do plantkin and see if I can find something that might help negate the effects of this fungal mane.
And that is an upgrade to which move, or is that a normal base
That
move?
is upgrade to plant friend.
Plant friend. Got it.
Yeah, plant friend and plantkin.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would definitely work in this situation.
Okay, but I rolled an 8, so I don't know if that's gonna work.
No, this one, I don't think there is anything. I would even say you don't even need to necessarily roll for that one.
Good.
I mean, you got a success anyways, but this is just a matter of like, this is a narrative move. This is,
nice.
I
Cool.
think from what I can tell, this requires no mechanical like add-on other than just you have to be nice to the plants and you have to do, and you are so well tuned. This is your area. This is your domain in a sense.
Nice.
Yeah. So it looks as though a lot of what's happening right now, these spores that are being released off of the creature are having a very noxious effect to a lot of plants nearby, and they're to the kinds of plants that I will take a book out of my partner's playbook. My partner used to be an environmental education teacher, and say that it's happening to a lot of the plants that people don't like to care about, like not the super charismatic megafauna or flora that are like, oh, they're so pretty and everything. Like it's happening to like the big, like Venus flytrap ones that are big enough to eat an entire person. Like they're the kind of things that are like easily scare off a lot of folks. But Farley, you're used to interacting with stuff that's dangerous as all hell in this place. And you get this, like, it's very weird. You hear at one point one of these plants somewhere in the distance calling for someone named Seymour, and then somewhere else you hear, yes, Rue, it is what you think it is. And then you see another one of these ones just have like a big mouth that to the rest of your group, it looks like Farley's about to be eaten, but it turns its mouth to the side, and it like does like I'm gonna call it the like partner like chomp. Like when you have a partner and they just do like a little nomf on your shoulder as a sign of affection. It's the plant version of that. And just goes yump. And is like, I'm really sick. I need something really tasty to feel better.
I'm going to look around at my companions and be like, which one?
No, not that. Not that.
Garuk just grabs both Aster and Kanan.
Aster starts walking forward like, I volunteer. Absolutely not.
I volunteer. I want to see what the inside's like.
Nope.
None of you.
The plant basically tells you that it thinks it has floral kin that it believes could actually help neutralize the spores, but it needs to recover from its own sickness from the spores first. And this is I'm gonna have this is a treat for you, Nikki. There is an actual distinct mushroom variety in here that would be helpful for this. It is known as a chaos fungi.
Love it.
Is known for that because the small zone around it creates a small little break in reality and the realms where it will randomly spew out magic effects.
Dang.
On a whim. They are notoriously difficult to get a sample of, but if you're able to go and get a sample and bring it back to your plant friend, they'll be able to produce part of the solution that you think will neutralize the fungal mane?
If you collect all 7 of the chaos fungi, can you
Farley
turn
becomes gold Farley for some reason. You don't know why.
super Farley?
For some reason, there's a bunch of part of the process of getting around through. Actually, this kind of works because people talk about like the ring of mushrooms for different like fae or like different like fairy tales. So Farley's version of that is just gold rings you have to get through. You hear a blowing sound every time you go through
super
them.
fast. It'll be fine.
You have to like run in place, maybe get into like a ball form, like a hedgehog might do, and just go. Zzz.
Whole Farley side quest, which is just the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, complete with music and all.
In actuality, it wasn't a blue hedgehog. It was just Farley this entire time. Farley went back in time to do this and presented this. But you know what? You know what I will do? Because you did roll for it, I was going to have you roll to see a success for this endeavor. I'll say that the 8 that you rolled will count for that success.
Okay.
I think that makes sense to me, that you were able to do it. I think a good trade-off might be you have to use one of your character aces in order to get it, that will be the penalty of a 7 to 9. It's like you did it, but there was still kind of a cost to it, but you would be able to retrieve the chaos fungi and deliver it to your plant friend who like grows like 50% taller and wider. So the mouth is significantly bigger and kind of scarier, but it kind of makes a like really goofy, like, was it Little Shop of Horrors plant smile? And then it just sort of like, there's a set of leaves that grow alongside that grow along like the main stem that forms up like its body. And these leaves, it's like tiny little bits of dew dropping from them. It's the kind of thing where it's like, no one gets this without a lot of trouble and difficulty. And you get at most like, it's like a half a salt shaker's worth of like aspect of it. Like the sample is tiny, but it's that kind of thing where it's like, oh, how much does it cost to get this? Oh, like if money existed in this world, it'd be like $3,000 for like a drop of this stuff.
Like saffron.
Basically, it's really difficult to get this kind of thing, but you have a sense that doing all of that, losing the character ace, but taking care of your plant friend, that is one success on your clock for this phase. So for synthesis, you have one success on the clock. You did all of that and you got one, but it's very valuable and will go a long way to dealing with the wound.
Oh yeah.
So who is next up on the synthesis?
I just have to get another pillow for my back. I'll be back in just a second. Continue on.
No worries.
So I have a very interesting idea.
I like interesting ideas.
Is, a possible autumn branch. But for the 2 families that are here and that have been fighting over this dry plot of land, I am assuming they are similar to Garuk and perhaps a different angle. They are blue collar types. They are like worker types.
Yeah, they are very much like they are very much, if class did exist in the world, it does not exist in this era. Yeah. And this era, things have like around that have cleared up significantly. Mm-hmm. But given the kinds of means they have available to them and such, if they were not already being taken care of by other folks, they would be among like working class kind of folk.
Okay.
Definitely awesome. That kind of background.
Perfect. So I think knowing that Farley kind of has the mushroom situation on lock to help us nullify that, Garuk understands how hard it was to get crystallization off of a turtle when it was relatively dry. Doing it perhaps underwater is something that he knows is kind of freaking out at least one of his teammates. So I was looking at the moveset. I would like to roll Union Strong. Garuk goes to the 2 families and kind of pleads to them that we need to work together to create something that he can use underwater to take care of Crystal, because a knife underwater with currents is not going to do well.
I would say that would work
Mm-hmm.
if it were the diagnosis phase.
Right. That's
It
true.
is
Oh,
a
you're right. You're
diagnosis
right.
move,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay.
I like that idea, however, and I do think there is a way you could potentially use it. We could still use that same idea. You could try and do seeking wisdom, because that would also fit. You basically are trying to get both sides some information from either one of them. And considering how often they fight, you probably have to interact with them at the same time, which is its own ordeal.
Yeah.
But Garuk, you are Garuk, therefore you are charming.
I do be trying.
So,
Yeah, okay. I would definitely love to do that.
Unless you want
Yeah.
to count this take on the world, which also says when you risk incredible danger, act with great bravery. That would also work in this situation. It's your call.
I don't know the area, so I don't think that he would think of it as being brave. I think he would just think of it as reaching out to the community, as tumultuous as it is.
Okay, so that is seeking wisdom. So let's see what happens.
Okay. What am I rolling plus that? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it.
2d6 plus allure.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Table of contents in the PDF is super helpful.
That is a 9.
9. On a 7 to 9, one answer will be a lie, one will be the truth of 2 questions you get to ask. So you get to ask me 2 questions, and then the answers you get will be filtered through the 2 community members we are interacting with.
Okay. 2 questions. Above table to like the rest of the party, what are the 2 questions we want to ask? I would like assistance on coming up with something to help with, taking care of Crystal underwater. But is there another thing that we would like to ask them, because they've been so entrenched in this community?
Just ask them, why are you so mad all the time?
Where's the love? Where is it gone?
Peace and love, guys. I guess.
Yeah, I feel like Farley wouldn't really know what to ask them at all, because like they live here and these families have been fighting for so long. Farley kind of is like, there's no point in talking to them. There's no point. Also, I don't really care that much because there's mushrooms, but there's just this is a dead end for me, man.
There's always mushrooms.
Is there? Okay, wait. What exactly is the first question you're asking?
The first question is, do they have a means of breaking rocks underwater that I could make stronger to work on Crystal?
I mean, you could also ask these guys. They have survivors, right?
Wait. I have a crazy idea. Hold on. Wait.
Yes, let's go.
Wait. Okay. Don't ask them. Go to one of the sides and say, hey, did you know that the other side has this crazy technology that can break rocks underwater? And they say that your version of that sucks. And then they'll be like, no, our version's actually so much better. Here it is. I think that might work.
They actually just say,
Headology.
why do you need to break rocks underwater? That's stupid. Let them do it as they please.
I will give at this moment just a slight nudge of folks to a reminder to not use ableist language whenever
Sorry.
possible. So trying to avoid things like crazy and stupid when you can. I know it's a bad habit we all got. Just want to give a gentle push around that. But that is something you could do. That is a tactic. And I am here for this tactic solely because it's funny. And I like it when players come up with choices that are done solely because they're funny.
I mean, yeah, Garuk would certainly have brought this to the group before going out there. So I think that sounds rad.
I mean, my other idea is that there's people here who have survived it. So is there any commonality between the people who like survived seeing? Because you said that they can't remember anything. But
They
also,
can't remember.
Yeah.
But there
But
could be
is there something they
among
all
them.
have in common? Like they all have a
Yeah.
weird mushroom in their hair that somehow that's
Yeah.
what
Some
neutralizes
kind of
Yeah,
like
everything.
you could potentially go
physical
to
commonality.
you could go to Heartbrook to find some survivors. You could go to the Darrow River Pod to talk to some of the Selkies to see if any of them have a sense of what might have an idea about the situation given that. So if you want those to be your two questions, because again, it's just asking locals. It doesn't. Both of them don't have to go to. I'm trying to remember my names. I came up with these folks. The Koi and the Flycat families.
Yeah, okay. I think cutting it down the middle would be great. I think Garuk having this powwow with the team, I think he says, okay, I will go and verbally finesse the families, and then we can go and talk about these survivors with the Selkie community. So he's going to take Farley's advice and pit them, the two families, against each other to come up with a good methodology for taking care of Crystal underwater. And then they will go eventually to the Selkie to see if there was anything that linked the survivors together. Any common trait.
So between these two answers I'm going to give you, remember, one of them will be the truth.
Yep.
And one of them will be a lie. So in the midst of a conflict with, and I want folks to realize that the flycaps are frog people, just so you have a sense of who's arguing here. Mm-hmm. You have one family speaking in a Louisiana Bayou accent, just trying to imagine this, arguing with one another while fighting with what appear to be fish-headed people. There's a lot of catfish-headed folk, humanoids here, who are the Koi family, who are speaking in a Kentucky accent the entire time. So just imagine these two fighting with one another for several generations. And Garuk, you bring this up to them, and they're straight up, some of them will start casting magic at one another. Some of them start trying to chuck spears and nets at one another. They don't like each other very much, is what you're getting. None of them ever actually seem to aim to do harm, even with the spears and the magic. They just seem to always be fighting. It seems like their families have just come to an understanding that no one will ever actually hurt one another, but they will express being very pissed off at one another all the time. But in the midst of that, you do hear both of them mention that, well, if any, based off of what you describe, if you mention at all to them that the water horses, the seaweed was coming together like that, they will mention two bits of information, both of which will either be true or false based off of your role before, is that if the vines are what they think it is, then those vines have a naturally occurring bark skin effect that make them very difficult to break through. So what you essentially need to do is there is a kind of acidic compound. Think like the dew that think in terms of like texture and appearance, like a dew that comes out of trees for what you need for like maple. You need to get an acidic compound and coat something either very sharp or something very blunt in order to physically part the vines in order to even get access to the crystal, and then use that to directly break and shatter it. So from what you know, that those are the bits of information that could be the case, that you need to actually go and get that compound from, again, another local bit of flora that is probably going to be a bit dangerous or a bit weird to try and obtain. That's what you get from them fighting. That is that them shouting about it. It's like one person will be like, no, you're supposed to just trap with the net. Well, you can't trap with a net. It just unrolls. Well, if it's unrolling, then you're going to get hit by the barkskin vines. Well, the barkskin vines aren't that big of an issue. Just go melt it with this. Well, you're damn fool. You need to put on something sharp. No, you put on something blunt. It both work. Like you're hearing this back and forth between both of them.
I'm imagining as this is happening, it's kind of like the classic 50s era, like Cheaper by the Dozen, where like Garuk is just like moving in and out of like people throwing things at each other, and just like, interesting, right? Okay, yes, but what about a blunt object? Okay, good.
Okay. So we put it on Kanon's fist again. And if it's a blunt, you just do a punch. And if it's sharp, you just do like a a piercing
No, what you
motion.
need to do is you need to get Kanon's fist and form a device around it. Perhaps you make it a drill and make it a drill that can pierce right through.
Exactly.
What I'm hearing
Okay.
is Wolverine claws.
That is also okay. I didn't mean for that, but I'm here for that. That is amazing as an idea. I love this so much. So that is what you get from the Flycap and the Koi families.
Yep.
What you get from talking to the Selkie folk is that a lot of them talk about there is a particular kind of song that all of them were humming that they think was possibly causing the creature to become attracted to them.
Garth Brooks strikes again.
Let's go, Selkies. Bum, bum, ba-na, na, na.
Now I have, because you've done that, I don't know why I just went to Shania Twain instead.
That is Shania Twain.
Oh, that was Shania Twain. Okay, I thought I was
Yeah.
losing my shit. But that's the information you got, is that potentially singing a song might win you the favor of this water horse. Regardless, that is a second success. You just have to sort out which bit of information could be helpful to you. Do you need a certain kind of substance in order to break through the vines, or do you need to sing a certain kind of song to attract the Kelpie to you?
I say we just do both, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, we
Apply
do like a
all
little song while we
methods.
dance around with our swords. Hit me, baby, one more
No,
time.
no.
Is this the song?
Just DMCA every other session. Just come in.
Are you a Swiftie? Seahorse?
Are you more of a Swift fan, or are you a Halsey fan? I need to know.
Oh my goodness.
Which
Okay.
one of these sounds
Through the
better
water.
underwater?
Through the equine.
Play
Through the
both.
water, you hear a horse saying, "I'm a Carly Rae Jepsen fan."
I was gonna say that they're the equine Halsey fan, you know, horsey.
Ugh.
Bad
No,
one.
I'm going to
No.
Do I
resist
get a
adding a
minus
fail
character
segment
race
to
for
the
that?
clock for that statement.
in my home game, we have what we call the bad joke jar. And whenever someone makes a bad pun, they put money in my jar. It's very big and very full. Don't make puns. He who would pun would pick a pocket.
And that's why I am rich.
But so you have 2 successes so far. Who would like to take the next move to try and bring us along through synthesis?
I think I might have a plan. Okay, so does this kind of synthesis if I'm trying to find like a good place to administer the cure? Because
Yeah, I would count that
maybe we
because
don't want to do this underwater if there's a way to lure it to us. If we're
yeah,
figuring this out.
that
Hmm.
at bare minimum, trying to find a way to lure it, I would put that under synthesis, because again, synthesis and diagnosis is to figure out what's wrong with it. Synthesis is to try and get all your materials in place. And I would put under that category, trying to put yourself in an advantageous position to actually administer the cures.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I was gonna like try and I guess explore around the place, you know, mud on each cheek, and find a good spot that I guess we could like lie in wait while someone else lures it, like an ambush point or something. Seeing as it's the primeval forest, that's probably a difficult task on its own because it's shifting constantly. So it's got to be somewhere nearby and have safe zones, I guess.
Yeah, you could potentially try and find rare anchor points that the forest does shift around. Because like while it does shift constant features of it, there might be aspects of the forest that stay sort of like fulcrums that everything orients around. Like there might be small groves within the actual forest that are used as points that magically it all shifts around.
Okay, then I'll try that. What would this come under, I guess?
I think that would.
Okay, here's
gonna
the plan.
Yeah, I would say here's the plan or take on the world because, again, you described it is a very dangerous place around here. So I'd say either one of those would be appropriate.
I'll say here's the plan, maybe, because that's rolling fine, and my fine has to do with like approaching wildlife, which I'm sure is all environmental based.
Yeah,
So
I would count
yeah. Okay. Oof. Oh, big money, no whammies. 7. I got a 5 and a 1.
And you have a +1. Okay, 7. That is a pass. So on a 10 plus, pick 2 and mark 1 clock segment. On a 7 and 9, just pick 1. Based on that phrasing, I'm going to take that as you still get the clock segment, but you only get to pick one of the aspects, one of the questions to ask me, and I will answer them truthfully. So what are the foreseeable risks with this plan? What do we need to make this plan work? What is one unforeseen risk to this plan? Which of those would you like me to give you an answer to?
What do we need to make this plan work?
You do get the sense, based off of what all the Selkie have told you, regardless of what song it is, you do know that singing of some kind will attract it, but you don't know the reason. You don't know the reason why. You don't know if it's because it likes hearing singing or if it hates it. Which, again, should give you a clue as to what Garuk, that could be, that's why Garuk's thing could potentially be a lie or a truth. Because what you heard as a commonality would have been potentially this song that they were all singing could have been something that it liked, or it could be something that was pissing it off.
But it's something that'll bring it here.
It will bring it there. Song will attract it. And part of the reason song will attract it as well is because Kelpies in this world tend to congregate wherever there is life, or at times the echoes of life. And this might be something Farley may have experienced on a few occasions. I don't know if there are the singing type, but if they have ever been around folks who are, they may have experienced the phenomenon where there are actually what are known as soul echoes, small orbs of light that float through the forest that represent those souls that did not successfully leave the forest safely. There are those who still had things that they wanted to accomplish. They are not normally hostile. They're actually quite friendly. And oftentimes a lot of Kelpie are drawn to where life is. And these soul echoes are attracted to song. Songs often remind them of their lives very distinctly. So doing that may be a way of actually bringing those soul echoes over, and by extension, bringing the Kelpie with it. So you would have a very creepy, you have creepy lighting potentially to frame the whole background of where you're going to be, but it will bring them over.
Okay. Garuk, do you want to run the choir session?
I mean, I
Be our
can.
little
We
conductor.
do have more time to figure out more information before we do that, unless we want to.
We are at 3 segments filled.
Yeah.
One more, everybody. You still got one more segment to fill. So who's going to fill the last one? Yeah, we're getting near the end, so I'm making these clocks a little bit longer. And I know y'all like this part of figuring it out and thinking about what you need to take care of it. So what is going to be your last action?
I can pull one up. I was looking at novel application. I think Ganon's been like looking through her notes. I think mainly because she's like, I don't want to get near this weird thing. And like and it is, I feel like this thing has a huge advantage over us more than these other creatures. Like I can handle stone wings, but I don't know about this musical alluring whatever is going on with this. She's just like every once in a while staring daggers at the water. Not me. You can't get me. Ganon's always on watch. So I think see, trying to invent a new way to apply medicine. My original thought was like she was gonna try to apply something while it was still in the water, like try to do something to the water, and like her probably challenge would be to only affect this creature and not harm other creatures in the water. Like maybe she's trying to come up with like some kind of like echolocation device or something that'll just affect this creature but not affect anything else, because she's not trying to mess up the entire ecosystem here and just
you know what it could be. It could be a kind of echolocation that is still sound based, but is meant to it's meant to reflect back below because the way the echolocation is that like the sonic waves like bounce off of walls and give sort of like an imprint of like the area. You could be doing the same kind of, it's, you know what yours is? You're basically making your own portable sonar effect, like a submarine. That's essentially what you're trying to come up with. So here's if that is what you want to try and do, I will give you the segment if you can find a way to do the following.
Okay.
You will need to spend a supply to make this work, which I believe y'all had 2 to start with. So you would need to spend 1 of your only 2 supplies to make this work. You will need to convince someone else locally, very likely one of the Selkies, to help you do this correctly, to make sure you don't affect anything else. Because I think an appropriate way to make this work is that if you talk to the Selkies, some of them who are part of the hunting contingent do occasionally use songs to lure fish and other like small like fauna over to like hunt to get for the community. And they know certain types of tones that will only draw in certain creatures. So you could probably use a variation of their tones and capture it magically to create your own personal sonar effect. But you do have to roll something in order to try and convince one of them. And I will say, no, I think that's enough because it says you can do up to 3. I'm going to do those 2. You will have to spend a supply, and I need you to roll in some way. Someone in the group has to convince one of the local Selkies to help you. So it'll be part of the hunting contingent.
Cool. Okay.
So if you want to do that roll, you can, or if you think someone else who can do it, and all you have to do is just, again, justify what you think amongst your trainings. Even if you don't think it's necessarily treating a creature, if it's something that best exemplifies demonstrating your skill in some way to the hunting contingent, that they would trust you.
Okay. Let me see.
Ganon, you're so charming. You could ask these Selkies to do anything.
Yeah, Ganon,
you just come up like tears streaming down your face, like, please, I don't want to go in the water.
Please don't make me. You don't want me in the water. Look at me. Do you want me in your water? I was meant to be in front of books. You can tell by my tiny form.
And they're just like, okay, we'll help you, please just stop this.
Get this whining book nerd away from us. Yeah, let me think what else she could use besides her terrible allure.
Maybe do you have some like books about things that they normally hunt, and you could be like, oh, there's some more info I have that might be helpful for you guys.
Yeah, I could see that working, like the medical research that she has. I think maybe she like most recently looked into like marine animals, so she's like, I know lots of facts about marine animals. Did you know that?
I will accept this. I will accept this for a very funny reason. I will tell you later. Just roll for it and let's see what your result is. Because if this works, you're looking for 7 to 9 at least here.
Yeah.
Are they just so charmed by the fact that this person is like, did you know about this thing that's in your area? And they're like, oh, bless her heart.
she doesn't understand.
Yeah. According to newest studies coming from the fantasy version of MIT.
They're like, yes, we were a part of those studies, but okay. You clearly have never been outside of a classroom.
We'll take pity on you.
Let's do that. I think I'm gonna burn my character race for this as well, for acuity.
Okay.
Oh, actually, do I need to? I did get an 8.
It's your call. If you get it up to a 10, I'll give you something extra.
Ooh, yeah, I'll give it a shot.
They give you tissues to blow your nose and wipe your eyes.
Dang it, I got a 9. So close.
So close. I would have let you keep the supply if you gotten the 10.
Oh, okay.
So here, so you do this. You do this whole like. Do you do the crying one, or do you the crying route, or do you do the like telling them about info route?
I think the telling them about info. I think the further away she gets from forests and stuff, the more she's like, yes, this is where Ganon shines. She's like giving herself a pep talk. She's like, you've got this, Ganon.
Here's the reason why. So in the Darrow River pod, there are 3 distinct sort of factions who sort of watch over the whole community. They're not antagonistic to one another. They're just how folks have partitioned out responsibilities. So there are primarily the folks who are in charge of actually creating the homes and crafting quilts and taking care of history. There are the folks who are in charge of creating weapons for hunting. And then there are the actual hunters themselves who are in charge of the conservation of the local fishing spots and such. So there is part among the subset of folks who are involved with the creation of homes are a subset of essentially think very much Selkie artificer like mage tinkerers. So very much the nerds of this area and bookworms of this area, except some of them have like they're like the engineers of this area. So they're adjacent to your kind of level of nerddom, as a way of putting it. And so as a result of that, you do meet a very enthusiastic fellow by the name of Kai Ball, who is kind of like a shorter, squatter, bit of a fatter sort of Selkie, who is among some of the more human-looking Selkies, who basically, I'm not going to do the accent because I can't do freaking terrible Russian accent, but imagine a very joyful, big voiced Selkie, who again is only like 4 feet tall max, because none of the Selkies are very tall. They're all very short comparatively to like most folk. And just like starts trying to, like, the moment you start showing that you have any sort of outside interest, starts trying to convince you to show all of this information to his son, who just has the look of like, Dad, please don't embarrass me this entire time. But in the midst of doing this, you have another Selkie come by who looks the least humanoid, a lot darker gray fur with fins and sort of black and white rings around the fins and around some of the fur. Least humanoid looking, looks like the head of the hunting contingent named Marcia, who just which imagine this one in a very thick Irish accent, like very, very thick Irish accent, just like kind of wondering like what all the hubbub is about. And like Kai Ball starts launching into reiterating all of your facts and is just sort of like Marcia just goes up to you. Whatever you need, I will give it to you so long as you get that man to shut up. Just
You can go thicker than that with your Irish accent.
Can't look. No, I would.
Ask over to you.
Look. You do it, you fucker.
Are you sure you're going to go to here, come on with you. Like that?
Somewhere around there. No, I cannot do a thick Irish accent. I always do it light because I never want to lean into the worst version of them. This is why I never do thick. I never do thick for any accents because I always if I overshoot, I land in terrible. But point of that being the interlude, just imagine a very thick Irish accent, Selkie just being like, please, for the love of God, get this man to shut up and I will help you with anything.
Gunnan's like, I got this. I understand. Focus interests from nerds, and is just like, I'll occupy them while you help me get these items.
Basically, you found the special interest Selkies, number one, and number two, you found the Kanan equivalent of the Selkies here.
Do you feel powerful here, Kanan? Because you're like taller than all of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say all these Selkies are like Kanan sized.
Yeah, like the tallest Selkie, I'm gonna put it in perspective. The tallest Selkie is about 5'2", and that's a tall Selkie. That's a tall one.
Oh my goodness.
Like Marcia is one of the tallest Selkies, and she's only 5'2". Like they are not tall folk. But
so then how tall are the children?
Like 2.5 feet tall max.
Pocket size.
They are small beans.
Garuk is actively like, I already have two. What's a third? What's a third child?
They're so scoopable.
Rook, that's called kidnapping. We've talked about this.
Okay, but there has to be an orphanage. I'll take 5 of the orphans. They'll be loved.
Just put them in a sack.
You're like, I have so many leashes that don't have children attached to them.
What's the child version of the Hamburglar? Just
I will take care of your children. Don't worry.
The top tortilla. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I broke Angela. Sorry, everybody.
We did it.
This is the new mission. Forget about healing the horse or whatever. We're doing a heist, baby. Selkie orphanage heist.
That's 4 successes.
Yes.
We did it.
So
Ganda's like helping build stuff because she can reach things that other people can't reach. And she's like,
that's
yes.
true, you actually can.
So she's like, that's how she's occupying all the special interest Selkies. She's like, here, let me help you do outside work.
Oh my god.
I am rugged, thank you.
That works. When the clock is full, because we're moving on to the pharmacy move, and it's time to move on, check the clock. If every segment is marked a success, gain a critical ace. And have every member of the group name one thing they're taking with them into the confrontation with the monster. So yeah, you all don't need to worry about rolling for this. You managed to get a success on everything, and as a result of that, you all can bring something to mark preparation for the confrontation with this creature.
Is Canon bringing her very strong long limbs?
Garuk is bringing a sack full of children.
This is my children's choir.
Somehow Ganon is in there. Get me out!
I'm a grown up.
I will
Have the
have you
children doing
know.
like little carols.
Oh man.
Right. Farley's going to bring a boombox that only plays Shania Twain. No, I'm joking. Farley is going to bring a very large amount of fungal paste that they can put onto this this creature. I think is the thing that I will be bringing.
I like it. So that's
Can
one
I
thing.
ask a question?
Yes.
What was it that started luring us away? Was it eye contact with the creature? Because I'm pretty sure Farley made eye contact and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Could I get
It would be eye
could
contact.
could I bring like 4 pairs of sunglasses?
I mean, yeah, you could. You literally. Here's the thing. Kanan has made such a. Damn it, Nikki. Damn it! I knew it. I knew this is why you were asking.
My shades
God
are
damn
out
it,
of
I have
reach.
to deal with the fiasco shades again. Oh no! It's not the
Yeah.
fiasco shades. It's the what was it? It's thirst trap shades. Fuck me. Oh my god! If all of you. Okay, that's. I can't play while Minnie has that. Minnie looks far too attractive with them glasses on.
And the rest of us don't.
The rest of you, I want to laugh. Minnie, I want to laugh, but also I was like, great. All right, Smolder. All right, I am
we
gay.
go.
Thank you for the reminder, Minnie. I am very gay.
You're welcome. This is just your daily check.
As if my partner didn't already do that enough.
Feel gay? Got it.
Got it. Okay. Yes, you could actually, given how well Kanan has made an impression on the artificer Selkies here, you could literally have them fashion up something to protect you. So I will say that it will not be able to affect as many people as it normally would using that, or it might be null entirely because of your preparation. Because I think you all getting 4 successes and getting the full clock to be a success, I think that merits something really powerful. Okay, so fungal paste, glasses. What are Garuk and Kanan bringing? And after we hear from that, I think that'll be a perfect time to take us to break, as we are actually really spot on for time, everybody. We're doing great.
Okay. I am torn between Garuk bringing either like a basically a mini machete coated with that acidic compound to be able to get through what we needed to get through to get to the crystalline heart, or to use effectively moleskin leather gloves that wick water and coat that with the acidic mixture. So it's are we going for the choppy or are we going for the punchy? That's my
Question to the group. I will also say, you saying a machete coated in that, I literally just imagined, for whatever reason, a Selkie version of Danny Trejo showing up with a machete ready to fight
I mean,
people.
okay, for that alone, I
It's
think we
gotta-
should go. We
it's
should go
gotta
with Danny
be-
Tilapia.
Yeah, that's fine.
Isn't Danny Trejo pretty short as well? Like he could just.
Yeah, he's
show
not a
up.
tall dude. He's
Like,
around
he
like
just fit in.
5'5", I think. He's just built like he's ready to kill
Yeah, he is
15,000
scary.
people on his off day.
Amazing. So Danny Tilapia pulls up in his taco truck and then gets out with his like acidic coated machetes. Amazing.
Perfect.
He's like, so
Yes, we have an ally.
I'll give that to you because I think it's funny. I will actually give it to you. That will be your resource if you want. I will actually give that to you. Garuk is charming enough. If you want a gay Selkie Danny Trejo
Yes.
with a machete, I will give that to you if you want that.
It's the sexiest
Absolutely.
thing you've ever said to me.
Yes. Oh, you say such wonderful things, Angela.
You're welcome. I love my players so much. This would not happen at other tables. Hanan, what do you want to bring? What it
Yeah.
I'm not
because
sure
you are
leather
bringing the sonar
jackets, of
device.
course.
If there's something else.
Yeah, I think I think she's gonna do like an addition to the device to see if she can have something to kind of like disarm this creature, or like, I don't know, like stun it for a moment a little bit, like kind of turn the like echolocation kind of back on itself, just because in previous times we kind of had trouble with with the creatures just kind of like going ham on us every time we tried to approach it. So she's hoping like she can get a little
distance, which would be
yeah.
helpful on this too, because you know that getting closer to it is going to be difficult until you deal with the fungal mane.
Yeah, so if we can at least like do something to kind of like confuse it maybe for like a minute while we get closer approaching it. And I figure that works with her specialty. One of her specialties is that she can isolate, like, it if she really concentrates, she can isolate sounds and stuff in an area.
Yeah, I think you have enough knowledge and wherewithal to tinker with the sonar device enough to make it. In my head, I'm just imagining a really arcane version of like the Banshee scream of like from DC, just like it's like the siren kind of yell. So I'm just imagining like a localized version of like, I don't want to get in the water. So what I will say is that will definitely fall into the category more of like, you have to do something to try and like directly like antagonize or the creature, but that will work from a distance. So that the trade-off, the benefit for that con is that you don't have to get close to it, which is good because a lot of things on getting close to it that are really bad. But you all have managed to successfully get through diagnosis and synthesis pretty well. You had only one failure during the diagnosis last week. So with that, we are going to move into break as our party heads into a kind of a clearing where there's still water around. Like, you do know it's going to have to be somewhat near the water in order to try and pull this thing out. But we're going to move into our symbiosis phase as our party gets into a confrontation with the seahorse, otherwise known as a kelpie. So we'll see folks in about 10 minutes, and we'll catch you real soon, everybody. See ya in just a little bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. You are here on the award-winning Girls Run These Worlds channel as part of the Year of the Tempest Monster Care Squad series we have here this Saturday for you, or if you're watching the VOD in a perpetual time loop, because that's sometimes what time feels like. If you have that experience, you know. If you know, you know. But you catch us here with our Monster Care vets who have successfully been talking to local Selkie River Pod communities, have been investigating a bunch of different means in order to combat whatever affliction is currently affecting this underwater seaweed horse. It's a Kelpie. And now we move into the third phase of gameplay, which is symbiosis, where our group is now going to try and directly affect and cure this Kelpie of its affliction. So let's set the scene. You've managed to find like a grove nearby that, while still close to the water, you think might be able to lure it a little bit of ways and put you in a better position than being stuck fully under the water, but you do know there might have to be a possibility of someone going in to directly interact with it. But you have some of the music going off, I assume, to try and lure it in. And you watch just sort of for a moment, just writhing seaweed vines rising out of the water from one point, and then the horse head just popping out right above the surface. And it has a look of unhappiness at whatever song it's hearing being sung. Apparently, the tidbit you discover quickly is that that song is the reason it was going for the Selkies is that it does not like that sound.
It just hates show tunes. That's all it is. Just gets stuck in its head too much.
Good morning. Let's do this.
I was
Healing
picturing
the pony.
I was picturing the the Selkie children doing their choir, but it's like the, when the Who's in the Grinch thing, like "Ah, who door."
Suddenly
just
a Grinch. There's like a Grinch harumph. But
yeah, I mean, seaweed, green, there's connections here.
But it only shows up for a moment. But then it realizes how many of you that there are, and it quickly tries to dive back under the water. So that is a scene, and we are back into it. So who is going to take the first move to try and gain control? Because again, you are it is at the D12 spot on your control track, and you are at D4. In order to even be able to use Cure to deal with one of its wounds, you have to gain control in some manner, or you have to do something that will put you in a much more advantageous position. So,
all right, I think Farley would like to run the rabbit. Using Set 'em Up, I think I'm going to just kind of like stand in the middle and just start singing that song it hates. Everybody else can go hide in the tree, so it looks like I'm alone, and just like, I'm just gonna pretend to be like looking for something on the ground, and like my back's gonna be like to this thing, and just like singing away, and then everybody else can like bomb rush it when it
Okay,
comes
set
at
them
me.
up. So that is roll plus fine. So what is your result? 2d6
Okay,
plus
I'm
fine.
gonna go ahead and use an ace for that as well.
Using a session ace or character ace? So you do
Character
have a
ace.
session ace. Oh, character ace.
Character ace leaves me at 7, so
7. Okay. And the 7 and 9, pick one. You set someone up perfectly. Give a +1 to a teammate as long as they exploit the situation created. You catch a glimpse of a hidden truth, gain a session ace, or you get a moment to diagnose the monster's wounds. Ask the guide one thing the monster can do and one thing it can't due to its wounds.
I think I'll give a +1 to a teammate.
Okay. So
Yeah.
whoever's going to follow up from this, you have not gained control just yet, but you have made it much easier to do so for someone else. So who is going to take the next thing? The creature is being, like, you see it like pulling itself out of it. Like, it's very strange. Like, it should have like the normal hooves, but they're like bundles of seaweed that it's sort of doing a movement as it's going across the grove like ground to try and get over to you. And it's just, imagine that, but it's its hooves. Like, it's the shape of a horse, but instead of just one like hoof hitting the ground, it's of multiple like seaweed vines just hitting it one after the other.
Amazing.
Who's following it up?
Does it seem kind of skittish as it's coming onto
It looks angry right now.
Okay.
You would have to get closer to it, and you know getting closer to it is going to be very difficult because now if Farley tries to do something with it getting this close to them, now they are going to start suffering the effects of the spores.
Right.
Can I try and sneak up on it, I guess?
Yes.
'cause
If you're
I
going
have
to, as a note, if
couple
you're going to do
things to-
something to directly physically interact with it right now because of all of its effects, if you try and do something to interact with the crystal heart, there will be a penalty to force. If you try and do something to deal with the main, there'll be penalties to fine and acuity. And you don't know what its third wound is. So just as a note, just so you know ahead of time, this was information you've picked up from Farley's expertise and the information you gathered earlier.
If you want to try that, Gask, I can try and use Summoning Song in a way to like lure it further inland. To hopefully help calm it down a little bit too. Because I'm making the sound that it would respond to, not us playing like Smash Mouth and it annoying it.
Hey, now
Yeah.
you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play.
Go nay.
Can you sing that in a Louisiana accent?
Hey now,
No.
you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go nay.
Official Girls Run These World's Monster Care Squad album coming to stores near you.
I'm really glad Minnie is part of our cast. I'm so glad Minnie's back. Okay. If you want to do Summoning Song to do that, so let's see, Summoning Song, you would have to roll a lore to that. And I will say, yeah, no, that's not one of the ones that has a penalty to things. So if you did that, a lore would put you in a better place. The Summoning Song would put you in a better place, depending on what you roll.
Awesome. All right, 2d6, and we're on a d4 right now, right?
You're doing 2d6 for this. You only do the d4 when you're doing Cure Wounds.
Got it. Okay.
That die size only changes for Cure Wounds. Right now, you're trying to seize control, which means basically you have to move up on the track or just get the effect of seizing control, because you can't do the Cure Wounds until you're in a position to actually administer something.
Got it. Okay. That is a 9.
Okay, 9. So 7 and 9, you attract an animal that may help you in another way. Here's how I'll pitch this to you, Minnie, for doing this. Do you want me to create the animal and you create how it helps you, or do you want to create the animal and I create how it, or other way around? Yeah, whatever the reverse of what I just said was.
Yeah, you create an animal and I will say how it helps.
Perfect. In the midst of you playing the song, the Kelpie is kind of entranced, but it looks like it's torn, like it's not quite certain of how to react fully. But as you are singing that, you see coming out of the water nearby, just with its little legs, you see a croc just showing up out of the water.
Oh my goodness. Amazing.
Oh,
How would you like it to help you?
I thought of the shoe. I thought the crossword thing. I was so confused.
The front of the croc just opens up like that.
It
It's a sentient
transforms.
croc, the worst possibility in the world.
The crocs are in the water. Nature is healing.
I chose the wrong time to take a bite of that orange. I almost choked to death.
So there is a croc, Garuk, that is there, has been called in by your song. So there is a possibility of it being able to help you. How would you like it to try and help you?
Okay. I am imagining, because the summoning song for our lovely people watching, summoning song basically states that the player using it starts making a sound, like a call similar to the creature we're trying to call. So I'm imagining that Garuk is actually making like horse calling and like horse training sounds. But this is an aquatic creature. So I would think that the croc coming up and actually like maybe thumping its tail on the ground is almost making like the vibrations that you would hear underwater. So it's making the neighing and the horse sounds sound even more authentic. It sounds like I am an underwater creature. I'm not just someone going, yeah.
Okay. Here is what I think works for that to give you. You have a friend to help you out. You have a new friend to help you out. I will, because of that, whatever Aster tries to do next, or whatever the next person tries to do next, but I think Aster was also in the middle of trying to think of something, I will give you +1 to that, because I think this is such a helpful thing going on that you've calmed it down. So whatever you try and do next, whatever the next person does, it's a +1 to that. You haven't gotten control just yet on the track, but you are setting up someone else in a better way too. Wait, what did you roll? What did you roll, Minnie? Was it a 9, you said, or an 8?
I rolled a 9.
That would be a 10, because
well, we're
As
giving the
far-
next person +1. So unless you
I
give
also
me
had next person plus
no,
one.
you
though.
also
Oh.
got, so yeah, I'm gonna give you the croc and the 10 benefit. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm gonna give you the croc anyways because croc is too fun to give up. The croc helps you. So instead of the +1, this will be instead of the +1.
Okay.
You hear it calling back, and you swear you hear a voice you can understand. And you hear it saying, like, somewhat grumpily, I'm just trying to be a friend. Why is everyone singing all of these songs around me? I just want to be friends with people. You get the distinct sense some of their consciousness is there, but not like the other times you've encountered where it feels like divine or anything of that sort. It just feels like this creature has a consciousness within it that it's not being able to fully express right now.
Okay. Noticing that as like he stops singing, and then hears that and like strains a little bit to hear it and make sure that he's not imagining this. He's kind of gonna like whip his head over to where everyone else is hiding, because right now it's just Farley and Garuk in the clearing. He's gonna say, "Hey, I mean this in the best possible way. I think this guy's like Kanan. I think it's just a little prickly pear that just doesn't really understand how to reach out to people.
So it drowns them?
Sometimes social is hard."
He's trying his hardest.
You know what? Mood. Cotton's like, you know
Of
what?
course you'd say that.
I get it. I too would turn to drowning others instead of talking about my feelings.
Hi, Conan. How's your goal?
Next person was. Oh my god.
Okay, so we've got it lured out by now.
It is lured out. It is not in the water right now.
Okay,
Because of how well the summoning song worked, it's entirely out of the water at this moment. You don't know how long it's going to stay on, like, quote unquote, like dry land. It's not really dry land. You're in still like muddy kind of like embankments and such. But this clearing is the closest thing you have to a dry spot outside of going deeper in the very tight aspects of the forest.
Yeah, because I kind of want to see if I can grapple it here, I guess.
Okay.
Yeehaw, rodeo.
Okay. That would probably be, yeah, either we're going up there or get in the way. It's your call, bud.
I think I'm getting in the way.
Okay, get in the way. Which, funnily enough, is one of the ones that it is not affected by anything that it has within its wounds and effects.
Yeah,
Grit
but
is
also
better in this scenario.
my character ace for this would not work for grit, so we're just gonna.
You do have a session ace though, because I believe you have at least one, if I recall, because one of you did, I think Farley got one
yes,
earlier.
yes.
So you could use
You
that
have
right
them.
now if you want.
I don't know, because I feel like maybe we should save that for when we're actually like curing, maybe,
Well,
or closer.
We do have two because Garuk got one this session.
And that's a D8, right?
No. The critical ace is the D8. The session ace is just another one that only can be used during the session and is a D4. But you do have a critical ace as
We
well.
do
But I
also have
assume
one.
y'all are going to use that for curing.
Yeah.
Yes,
So if you want to
yes.
use the D4, that's
Yeah. The session ace you could use because you have two of those, but you have one critical ace.
Okay, I'll use a session ace then, and then I have a +1 from Garuk.
Yes,
this
I am going to.
yeah,
You know
+1
what?
from
Take
me,
it. Take it. Yeah. So you have +1
Yeah.
from Garuk and the D4. So this is a good. Garuk did really well on the song, and Farley really helped with setting up Garuk. So this is very much a team effort of you using scattered skills to try and build something up. So, Aster, roll that and let's see.
Oh, well, okay, so 9, 11, 13, I guess.
13, I guess. Okay.
I guess.
I knocked
don't know,
it
I'm
out
bad
of the
at math,
park.
So on a 10+, you channel the danger away from you and toward the monster. Push back the monster on the control track. So the monster is going to move back, which I'm just going to double check control track. Control track as you take actions. Moving down. I'm just double checking one quick thing. Bulk of generate control track as you take actions. Control anytime you push the monster back one space. Yeah, so you've gained control. So you're still at the D4, but you have gained control by pushing it back to D10. So you could start doing cures right now. You would only have the D4 to work with though. So that is
It's a start.
It's a start. That is a big success. So get in the way, and you channel the danger away from you and toward the monster. So in the midst of this creature, which as you've gotten close, Aster, I will give you the full view of what its third wound is. You see that the vines forming its hooves and its legs are like bindings. They are root bindings that are actually how it's connecting and able to keep a lot of its body together. You see these three have distinct, this set of root bindings has 3 distinct effects to it. You don't know what all of them are, but you suspect the bark skin effect that was mentioned earlier from the flytrap and koi families is one of those. You don't know what the rest of them are, but you are able to like keep this thing as it tries to suddenly turn some of the vines into spiny protrusions like a porcupine, like a set of quills. It starts trying to stretch out its vines to make them sharpened and pointed, but you managed to roll out of the way and like tackle it to the ground and then push it off of you. It's not going towards the water.
I do want to say that my equipment is that I have like a camouflage cloak that like masks my scent, and I just want to imagine that I was hanging out in a tree. I saw this kelpie make land, and the second I saw it, all four hooves, seaweedy hooves on land, I just jumped out of the tree like, yeah,
like a flying
Leaped
squirrel
at it.
just coming at you.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not suspecting something. It was suspecting something either from the water or from the ground. It is not used to dealing with stuff from the air. So you managed to knock it down, and you've pushed it further towards the drier land. So it'll be harder for it to go back towards the water. So that is 3 of y'all have taken a move. Kanan, what are you going to try and do in this scenario? Because the rest of your team has managed to do something to help it out. And you suspect from the info you have before, you could try and deal with the spores or potentially something else about it if you spend supply, because you know about the bark skin and you know about the poison spores. You, I think in your knowledge, have a sense that if you use some of your supplies, you might be able to neutralize those effects.
Writing those down so I don't forget. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at, see, and we're at a D4 and it's at a D10 currently. Okay. I think I'm gonna do my I've seen this before and use the upgrade to see if I can get our tracks to be a little closer to each other. And I think kind of like piggybacking off what Minnie was talking about, that like this creature is kind of like Ganon. Like Ganon has a weird just internal connection to this. Yeah. I don't understand why. I really don't like this thing, but also I am bizarrely drawn to its nature. So I think since her monster upgrade is trust me on this one, recognize the behavior of this monster, even if you can't remember how or why. And I think like she kind of recognizes that it's like almost like throwing a tantrum, and she's kind of like brought back to her kind of doing those things in the past where she's just like overwhelmed with emotions and she just can't process anymore, and she's just like, I hate everything. It just like makes a mess and is like wrecking things, and she kind of remembers like always being kind of calmed down by like a parent's presence or like an aunt's presence or something like that. So I think she tries to bring that, like she's like, okay, let me try to really step outside myself for a second and not be a whiny baby and try to be like a parent.
Roll the 2d6 plus any stat, because your upgrade lets you roll any stat instead of a 2d if you want to roll something else and give it a shot. And if you are using any of your aces because of your trainings, feel free to add that. And you do have one session ace if you want to use that instead of one of your character aces.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I think I'll go with analysis. Just I guess team communication could work too, but let's go for not a minus on this one. And I think she's just like now, like she's kind of trying to bring back like thoughts of like Garuk, like how he calmed her down and like her parents, and she's like, all right, really try some of that empathy.
Try my best. I'm gonna think Garuk. I'm a married crop dad. I'm a married crop dad.
Yeah. Ganon's like,
you
what?
Have 2 beautiful children who love you very much and a wife.
She's like, this is very strange. I feel I don't know if I like the sensation of all this family love. Okay, and then and I think I'm gonna burn out that grit ace as well.
Okay.
Just to really see if we can get. Oh yes. Okay, I got a 9 and a 3, a 12.
12. Holy Christ.
Yay.
Okay. So 10 plus It moves down its track. I think this is added on to that as well. So y'all move up a track and you move it down a track as well. So it is now at a D8 and y'all are at a D6. So are you talking to the creature directly, Kanan? Or are you just trying to get a sense of like analyzing the situation?
I think she's talking to it. Like she's not necessarily meaning to, but she's just like, okay, you're super overwhelmed. I think she's almost like talking to herself, but it also connects to how this creature is feeling. So she's like, you're super overwhelmed. What do? You like a nice pot of tea, and it's like her like self-soothing things kind of end up sounding like she's talking to the creature as well. So it like ends up working on both of them.
You hear that same kind of disgruntled voice, but it sounds more agitated and like it's stuck in for anyone who's dealt with anxiety, when you have that anxiety train loop where you have like the same 3 thoughts going on repeat and it won't stop, and you're like, you should get out of bed and go get food, but I shouldn't eat food. I should just stay here. It's better if I stay here. It's better if I stay, like getting stuck there. But all you hear her saying, I need to find family. I miss family. I miss family really badly. I need to find family. I miss family. It's whatever is happening to her. Again, something is overwhelming her, and whatever this being is, it feels like it's stuck in a certain like train of thought, and it desperately needs to reach out to find company. So you move up the track and you move the creature down the track as well. So the creature now reacts to all of this. Let's see one terminology. It is going to do this. Yeah. You watch as the creature, as some of its form tries to move itself back, but it starts splitting like right down the middle and separating. And you watch as some of the vines on the top half, the bottom half actually, the top half is currently had Aster for a second. The bottom half, like both sets of legs split open, and then you watch as they begin to move back and forth. And as it does that, you watch as the water from the swamp nearby, it launches towards the whole party. It reconnects its body, but it's raised the water level, and by using the effect of its crystal heart untamed tides, it's pushed you all back 1 on the track. So it's nerfed the benefit Kanan gave you, but because Kanan rolled so well, you don't have to spend supply and retreat. You are very fortunate that Kanan actually got that, otherwise retreat would go into effect. So it is now to the party again. You are back at D4 and you have lost control, but you have more of a sense of what's going on with this creature. Who's up first to try and do something?
With Kanan's like self-assuring and helping assure the Kelpie, and then was Kanan the only one that heard the Kelpie and its anxiety loop, or did we all hear it?
No, this one was just Kanan.
Okay.
Kanan connected, and that's what Kanan's hearing. Garuk has the aspect of like it's upset by stuff, and you can tell it's being agitated. Kanan is currently hearing the other set of thoughts going on in their head of like it's agitated and it doesn't know how to handle the situation.
Okay. I think even still with Garuk feeling the anger and the frustration, I think he's going to try and trying to appeal to it to kind of help calm it down, as to continue help calming it down. I think I don't know what I would roll other than like allure, because he has fellowship and camaraderie. So I think even though Aster is like grappling onto it, I think he's kind of just going to approach it like a wild pony, essentially, and kind of have his hands up, and is just like, I understand that you're angry and you're tired. We just want to help. We just want to be able to figure out how we can make you not frustrated anymore.
Here's what I'm going to do. I want you to roll me 3d6, take the highest 2 with allure, because I think narratively this has been set up so well, and you are appealing not to try and take it down, but to its better nature. And I will tell you what you get depending on what your result is. But 3d6, take the highest 2.
Okay.
I think I've seen some other PBTA systems use this version of advantage, and I like this one a little bit better.
Okay. Would you also like me to add my allure, or just do
yes.
Okay.
Yes, because you're using allure.
Got it.
If you get 7 to 9, you'll get a benefit, but there will also be a cost.
I did get exactly 7.
Exactly 7. Okay. I will give you, moving up on you gain a spot on the control track, but you will need to give up an ace, one of your character aces, in order to manage that.
Yeah, Garuk would definitely do that.
Okay. So you are appealing to it. You start talking and reaching out to it. And there is a split second where you start hearing another voice. There's another voice in this creature's head. Not the one you're hearing grieving, but another voice.
Can I tell what it's saying? Or is it kind of like hearing a voice from like rooms over? You can't really tell what it's...
Kind of like rooms over, but you're hearing storms coming, storms coming. I didn't know how to deal with this. Storms coming, storms coming. I need a friend. Storms coming. You just hear this on repeat.
Okay.
Like someone is freaking out. And that person freaking out is like static noise overwhelming the senses of the consciousness of whatever the Kelpie is.
Okay.
Because you get the sense that, to make it very clear for folks, the Kelpie has a consciousness that, like, whatever the Kelpie is, this consciousness that you're trying to appeal to is is the consciousness of the Kelpie itself. Mm-hmm. But there is another consciousness, like another voice in its head, that is just like so much static noise. It's sensory overload, and that is causing it to freak the fuck out. That other voice you're hearing, mm-hmm. It sounds like the voice that the other deities have described.
Oh, okay. I think just for narrative flavor, we don't have to do anything else or me rolling anything else. But just for narrative flavor, I think as like Garuk is saying all of these like affirmations to the Kelpie itself, and then he begins hearing the I need a friend, storm is coming, I need a friend, storm is coming. I think when he reaches out, the last thing that he says is kind of like in a movie when you have an overlay of things. He just says, "We're here to be friends," and then that's the last thing that he does.
It's working. They're at D8 and you're at D6. Next up in the party, who's going to take from there? You could try the curing a wound right now. It'd be risky, but you could potentially do it. Or you could try and keep pushing on the control track and make it a little bit easier for some of your other party members. But who's doing the next thing? This thing is freaking out.
I think I want to try and heal this fungal mane. I think if we can get that under control, it'll make it a little bit easier on everybody.
Yep, the mane, is causing a lot of debuffs to the party. If you can deal with it, it will help a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay, if you're curing, then you do roll D6, and I assume the critical ace as well?
Yes. It's a D8 for the critical ace, right?
Yes.
13.
13. All right. On a 10 plus, you heal the monster's wound and they lose the abilities that wound granted them. Reset the control track and tell the table something you noticed while applying the cure. So I think for the sake of time and such and our overall story, I will not reset the control track. You will just stay at D6 for the sake of just keeping things moving along. But as you, so how do you actually deal with the fungal mane? Do you just apply like something to it? What does Farley do?
I think Farley is going to just kind of like try and like get underneath and just kind of like just slowly start like petting it like on a cat's chest when they kind of like raise their head up like this, and then just kind of like smear a bunch on. I'd show you with Abigail, but she's asleep right now. Just kind of smear a bunch on, just kind of like, yes, good horsey, yes.
You see that the crystal heart at the center of it is it's the thing that's mainly responsible for the tides. One is you see that as the heart as the mane gets pulled away, and you see just like the seaweed sort of a hair that would normally make it up instead of the fungal aspects attached to it, you see that the seaweed vines forming around the heart and center of the horse body are pulling away, and you can see the crystal heart. It's more visible. The other thing you notice is that if this thing gets back in the water, it will be very difficult to try and track it down again, because the root bindings have an ability to cause it to blend in. That's why it's so hard to find in the water. The root vines naturally camouflage it. But because you've gotten rid of the fungal mane, you watch as the eyes go from this kind of unsettling, like pure white pair of orbs to like this very gentle amber coloration for both eyes. That's one wound down. You have 2 more to go. All right. And that's your critical ace spent. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for these other ones, but
I'm also going to somersault away, series of somersaults back to the group, and just kind of tell everybody what I saw and that we need to make sure it does not get back in the water.
Yeah, it is going to try and get back as soon as it can. So right now it comes down to Aster and Kanan. What are either of you doing?
I mean, can I double up on get in the way to try and prevent it from getting back in the water, just to do something, I guess, to pull it away from the water?
Yeah, if you want to try and get in the way again, by all means do that.
Yeah.
There's nothing saying you can't use the same move twice.
Okay.
Create a rudimentary lathe and block it from getting into the water.
It says you can lead a horse to water. What about away from it? But I'll just roll. Okay, I rolled an 11.
Rolls today, dude. This is payback for last session where y'all were just like eating it on the rolls, and also Gask's like 4 failures during our first session. So get in the way.
Fighting
on a 10 plus, you channel the danger away from you and toward the monster. This thing, it's trying now to split apart its body, but again, Esther, I think it's another flying squirrel tactic of it doesn't know where to find you.
Yeah, and I'm like koalaing it, like just gripping on so it can't like split apart.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Everyone else is noticing it's trying to split its body into 2 to separate, and then each half go towards the water to get back to it. But Aster is holding on so tightly that it can't do that. It's unable to move. So you've pushed it back to D6, and your party is at a D8 on the track now. So if you wanted to cure wounds again, you have a much better chance. So it comes down to Kanan.
Great.
We also have Danny Tilapia waiting in the wings to Crystal Heart whenever we need it.
Just
Art the linchpin of our plan.
Yeah. Poised in the shadows.
This was actually just a Johnny Tilapia prequel series. Season 2 featuring
Robert
only-
Rodriguez, make my film. They've made Cocaine Bear. You can make Danny Tilapia if they've made Cocaine Bear.
That's true.
There
You're
have been
truly
worse
living in a
film
blessed
ideas.
What are we on the control track again? I think I missed
D8.
it.
You're on a D8.
Awesome. We are on a D8. And then the creature is also on a
It's
D8?
on a D6.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Now, it doesn't really become relevant until it starts trying to push you back, but it's still significant in that you have a good amount of control right now and a good chance if you roll decent.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think I will try to cure wounds just to see if we can do it. We still only know just the one other thing with the crystal heart, right? We don't. The other cures or the other wound is just a mystery.
No, it's the hooves, the
It's the hooves, the
vines.
root bindings.
Oh, okay.
That was what Aster and Farley have sort of figured out in the midst of like applying the first cure and also just wrangling this thing. Aster is close to this thing the whole time, that between the two of them, they can figure out what's going on.
Okay, cool. In that case, I think Ganon will go towards those root bindings. See if she can kind of like tear through them a little bit and get to what's causing them and kind of like pull them out a little bit. She thinks it's like something that is attached. And then I'm not able to use character aces with this roll, right?
No, you are. The
okay.
choice. So the way character aces work is they affect any of your rolls. You just only get to use them like once per the session.
Okay.
The session aces, the distinguishing is that they'll go away at the end of the session, and the critical aces are only able to be used during this phase. And you've used that, but you got the first cure off of that. Your aces just get used throughout the different stages to represent what your specialties and your trainings and background are to try and make things easier. So depending on what sort of training you use in this moment, you may be able to make it easier for yourself.
Okay, cool. All right, then, yeah, I may see how this roll goes. Oh, yeah, I should definitely use one of these aces. We haven't one of the session aces still to go. Or no?
I think so. But as a reminder, you can only use a character ace or a session ace. They're both D4, so it adds up to the same thing, but you can only use one of them. I think you have one session ace left. Either way, I'm not upset if you used one extra. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Yeah, mostly using session ace just because I can't quite think of which stat of mine would work specifically the best in the situation. So just go for that. All right, got a 7. Just
7.
Barely eke that out.
Just barely. Okay, 7 to 9. Pick one. Heal the wound, but at a great cost. It resets both the player's and monster's position on the control track. Then advance the monster 2 segments. The wound mutates, shifts, or changes, but you've seen this before. Advance 1 on the control track. Or your cure fails, but sets up your team. Say how and give one teammate +1 to their next move as long as it uses what you set up. The reset on the control track's really bad, but it would get you a wound down.
Yeah.
But also the mutating wound would be really interesting solely because it's fun. Whenever we do that, we discovered it's really fun to mutate the wound.
Oh, that's true. I forget that one also advances us on the control track. I'm between heal the wound because then we only have one left. That would be nice to have 2 wounds healed and done with. Oh God.
I would make an appeal if I may for the
go for it.
mutation. If only because we already have Danny Tilapia waiting in the wings with a machete coated with an erosive substance. That in theory, if this mutates, could possibly also work with whatever this mutates into.
Ooh, true.
I will also say that even if we cure it, it's going next. And if we're reset back down.
That means you're going to have to spend the only supply you have left.
To bring it back up.
Well, to keep you in the fight.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, then
I will. Call.
I think that it makes the most sense. I forgot that it was going next.
So yeah, it is going next.
So yeah, let's let that mutate change.
Okay, so it is. So you try and deal with the root bindings. They splinter and break apart, so the horse is now not able to move, like lift itself up as much, because the lower half of its body has now mutated into mud and grime. It is now sinking into the ground and now trying to blend into the ground itself. But it's much slower.
And it's not
So
going
now
in the
it's
water.
instead of just standing at full, right? Yeah, you've almost entirely knocked Aster off of this thing by nature of just like, whoa! Like imagine being in an elevator and then it just drops the floor kind of effect. Just
slap.
Yes, that sound exactly. This thing is going to, yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, it was on a D6 because in trying to use its root bindings, it is going to try and let's see, Aster, I think you're the closest one to it. You actually and Kanan are the closest ones to it. The vines on the top part of its body, it now begins trying to, instead of throwing itself into the water, throw both of you into the water and drown you.
Oh no! You didn't want to go in the water, Ghana.
My
Yeah.
notes.
So it gets
fine.
control +1. So you are not pushed back on the control track. I'm remembering that correctly. No, wait, no, it does. It pushes you back. It goes to D8. You are both on D8 right now. And you have lost control. So it is now back to the group's turn. You need to regain control in order to administer cures again. And you need to deal with both wounds. What are you doing now? This is very much a case of like running out of time because this thing is going to start either to sink into the ground or the water soon. So this is now getting into, I need rapid fire decisions, folks. Also, because I'm looking at our time and there's a bit of narrative stuff I do want to get across to y'all.
Are Aster and Ganon like actively being drowned, or were they just flung into the water?
But you can, they're thrown into the water and you can see the vines are gearing up. This has an effect because the root binding is called drowning vines, where they are going to start grabbing and start pulling you under now.
Okay.
We're just being lightly drowned at the moment. It's good.
Cool.
Soft drowning.
So I think as like a final gambit play, can Garuk signal to Danny Tilapia to go for the crystal heart while he also dives for the kelpie and is going to use the frost grip that the goddess gave him from the second episode and stick it into the mud where the kelpie is going down and try to like start freezing it to slow it down even more.
That is a perfect use. And because that is just a natural ability you have, there's no rolls. I'm going to automatically give you control back on that.
Yes.
So you can start rolling to cure wounds again.
Okay. Do I roll? Are you rolling for Danny Tilapia? Should I roll for Danny Tilapia?
Roll for Danny Tilapia. You should roll for Danny Tilapia. Use your stats.
Perfect.
But take a positive on whatever you want. Because I think that's just funny.
Then I think I'll use force because I feel like Danny Tilapia would have a +1 to force.
Yes, Danny Tilapia has a +1 to force is what we're saying.
Okay, so Danny Tilapia got a 9.
Okay. And that's to cure wounds?
So he's using the acidic coated machete on the
You're right. So you have
use
that.
Danny Tilapia's character ace.
I mean,
yeah, sure. Let's use Danny Tilapia's character race. Let's set Danny Tilapia for his sequel.
No, wait. Anything you roll, actually, it will matter. Roll the character race. Roll a d4 for me, real quick. There's a reason why this will matter. If you're going for the crystal heart, does matter.
Okay. That is a 4.
Okay. the crystal heart has an effect that it naturally lowers force rolls by 1, but it doesn't matter because Tilapia is strong enough that he goes and he swing like again. Just know this is a tanky short Selkie, very furry tanky short Selkie, built like an ox. Just dives into the water and like finds the right spot, comes up under the water, digs through the mud, and it's like goes like swings from underneath and cracks the heart.
Yes. Amazing.
Just shatters entirely.
I don't need a new husband, but also maybe I need another husband.
My hero.
If someone else can roll to cure wounds and manage it to deal with the root bindings, the creature will be cured entirely.
Well, I mean, I'm right there. I may as well
Might as well.
No, Abigail, no. Stay in your box. Thank you so much. Okay.
She's like, I heard you wanted me to demonstrate something 20 minutes ago. I'm here.
It is time. 5, 9, and I'm also gonna use my character ace. That's gonna be 12.
The creature immediately slows down. And it reforms, but it reforms out of muck, of water, of seaweed. And you hear a very like kind of like tired, disgruntled voice come out of the Kelpie that all of you can hear now. It's like, oh God, oh, my head hurts so much. That hurts so much. Oh, hello, all of you.
Hey, here, let me help with that. And Groot's just gonna like touch his cool hands to like the Kelpie's temples.
Oh, please do that more. Oh, thank you. Oh God. You know, when you're ageless and you have about 800 years of experience with things, that's very nice when people actually are nice, are considerate and caring for a headache. Oh God. Oh gods. Oh, thank you. And just you have a seaweed horse that, in contrast to where it was before, was trying to drown 2 of your allies and like throw one of you off like a bucking horse, is now just sort of like neighing softly against you.
Amazing. As like that's happening, he's Groot's just also gonna be like, yeah, I will do this as long as you want. Could you please pull my friends back in?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't even realize I was doing that. Oh.
God, it's like, blah, do something. Blah. I can't
Just
swim. Don't tell
the
anyone.
vines sort of form like their own chair for both of you that just set you down in the clearing so that you have, and it's remarkably cozy for a whole bed of like seaweed and and underwater vines. And it just makes chairs for all of you. Oh, I am so sorry, dears. My apologies. Why don't I introduce myself? It like mentions under her breath while like it's a very strange squelchy kind of clip clop noise you're hearing as it's moving through some of the muck and grime here. My name is Fia. I am known as the Ageless. I am a friend of many of the deities here in Agni, and I often come by every cycle to just try and take a break from being a sort of counselor and advisor to all of them, to just be amongst nature and enjoy myself. But seems as though a lot of you had to come and take care of me. Are you all right?
When we were first like sat down, Ghana is still like, blah, help. Oh,
Oh no, are your books okay? Are they all wet?
She like pulls her shirt up. She's like, don't look at me. Don't look at my bedraggled form. This isn't
Meanwhile,
proper.
Aster's there with her like chest puffed out, like I did this, and like covered in mud and like seaweed everywhere.
Yeah, they don't seem too worse for the wear, though I don't think Ganon realizes that she had her books on her. It's fine. We'll deal with that.
No one
Oh,
tell
are
her.
you a reading type?
Yes.
See, I
Mud
don't know. I
falls
did this
out.
gesture. I did this gesture. I'm just gonna make it that the Kelpie has made their own seaweed glasses that are working for them because I think that's too funny to ignore as a possibility. Uh, just sort of you watch as like there's like the softest bit of warmth suddenly emanating out of the seaweed around your books, and like a small cool wind blows over them right afterwards, and the pages are perfectly fine. They're like, imagine a first print of a book. Like that's how
crisp.
crisp they all are now.
That's good.
The
Because
notebook smell finally came back.
they don't smell like musty water books. Yeah, I think Ganon, like, when first asked, is just like, they're all ruined. It doesn't matter. This is why I don't come outside. I hate everything. Everything is bad. And then she opens it and they're perfect. And she's just like, That's, the outsides are all messed up still, though.
Oh, I can deal with that too. But you know the old saying, beggars can't be choosers.
No, it's fine. It'll build character for them to be all messed up outside. You don't need to do anything else. they're being a contrarian. No matter what they say, they're just mad.
Yeah, and you just see like Thea is entirely unfazed. It's just like, dear, I've lived for about 1700 years. There's nothing you can do that can really upset me at this point.
The antidote to Ganon is just nonplussed.
Unflappable.
Yeah.
Unflappable seahorse. Seahorse. Sort of also, but from that turns to like Garuk and everyone else. So, what has you lot all coming here to take care of me?
So that's a bit of a long story, but we were sent here by Hearth, right?
Oh, yes,
goddess of the
by
Hearth.
yes. Hold on. Give me 1 second while I look up the gods that I have named.
I
Myself.
forgot.
Ida.
Ida. Yes, we were sent
Oh,
here
yes,
by
yes.
Ida.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
this kinda
Ida did mention to me that their siblings were not doing so well. Huh. Was that what I was hearing? Huh. Maybe that was her.
That was
Who
who?
I don't remember much about whatever it was I was doing prior to this. All I understood was hearing someone's voice calling out to me, saying, "Family, I miss family. I don't know how to handle this, and I feel very alone. And the storm is coming." And then all of a sudden, all I felt was a compulsion to go and seek out people to find family. Seems as though, from what you've mentioned and such, the other deities have been dealing with similar. And I think I know who it is.
Oh.
Mara, the grieving goddess. She's had a lot of periods of deep sadness and such, and has often reached out to family. And if any of you has ever had mild difficulties with families for whatever reason or another, looks in the direction of Kanan, like suspiciously, but doesn't say anything, you'll know that sometimes people don't always talk with one another in the best of ways. But I think this one occasion, it was a little too much for her. I think she tried to reach out to something else around her. I think she reached out to nature, she reached out to family, and as a result, she started to affect the gods themselves. I think she is very lonely and is looking for someone to come and ease her burdens a bit.
Dear friend, do you know where she is?
And it's right around this time that you are able to look up past the tree line, and you hear as rain, lightning, and thunder and storm clouds begin forming over. Oh dear. I think I know where she is. There is an event that happens once every few kindlings. It is a moment in which the planes of the elements begin to overlap with Agni. And on occasion, an elemental of great power will emerge. We amongst the divine, and even some of your scholars, refer to the one that appears over Chantico as the Tempest. As a storm elemental born of lightning and thunder, taking the shape of a feathered serpent. I suspect when Mara was distraught, she reached out to the first thing across the realms that might listen to her. And in her distress, she found the Tempest.
So that's the what it is, which sounds pretty scary, but it's an easy fix, right? Please?
Well, I'll put it to you this way, dears. Have you ever tried to deal with a massive, mile-long thunder and lightning snake before? With wings?
Closest we got was a big dragon turtle.
I actually did once, but it was in a dream because I ate too much cheese, so I don't know if that counts.
My
you must be-
mother-in-law is also about that dangerous.
Oh, I've had those experiences. Believe me, honey. When you live as long as I have, you have a lot of relationships that go a bit sour, and then bitter, and then great, and then sour again. But I suspect, and it's strange to see, like, again, it's almost like a solemn look on a conglomeration of a horse face and seaweed and vines all together. Sort of like, I suspect if all of this mess, this is like a moment of like the amber eyes going pure white again, and which is alarming. So you're like, add sunglasses, be ready, like have them back up. But you look, and you see that it's like, it's almost like Fia, they've taken in the situation all across Agni, and they're like, I know where it's going to be. It's going to be over Chantico. And I suspect the city will be in grave danger if you do not handle this.
Do you
This,
know if Mara is going to be there as well?
Mara is in the serpent.
Oh, I see.
That's why it's overwhelming her. She cannot handle being with such a creature. It is an entity, even for deity to take hold of something that powerful. One can become lost in it. The senses become overwhelmed. The sense of connection to all of reality is too much. In a way, it's, if you've ever had the experience of looking at a very bright light that's too strong for you, and then it just takes you, it disorients you. Mara's grief, her rage, her sense of unease, I believe, has spread. And I think if you are going to want things to return to calm in the continent, you will have to treat the snake. Well, the feathered serpent, pardon.
we're gonna need a really tall ladder.
Perhaps the folks of Chantico can do you one better. I'll reach out to them. And you hear like a soft, like almost like whinny sound.
Oh.
And there's circling above. For a moment, it looks a little bit alarming because it almost looks like there's vultures starting to circle down to reach the party. But then it's almost like some of the tree line parts entirely, and amidst all of the storm clouds and lightning that you're hearing up above, thunder and lightning above, and the rain beginning to fall, condors start flying down. And you see, these will take you over to the city as fast as they can. And perhaps will be your means of reaching the feathered serpent in the sky. I wish you luck. And also, thank you for curing my headache. You are very good. Has anyone ever told you should be a masseuse? I believe you would do very well as this.
I do get that often.
As you should. It's very strange when you get like a wink from one of the horse eyes, and it's just like, I don't know whether to be flattered or kind of unsettled.
Why not both?
And on that note, riding condors away from the forest towards the final destination to the northern region and city of Chantico, amidst thunder and lightning and a massive set of storm clouds just spreading everywhere across the skyline. As far off in the distance, you just see almost like wrapped around aspects of the clouds, the outline of a massive feathered serpent. That is where we're going to end our session for today, everybody.
That's the coolest metal cover I've ever seen in my entire life. Just like
This is like Lord
Riders
of
of
the
the
Rings or
Storm
Eagles
coming at you.
moment.
Yeah, I was just
Heavy
thinking
metal
that
version.
too.
Oh, just
I was like, we got the
Kukulkan.
Eagles.
Just
But yeah, everybody,
good.
this is why I wanted to move it into this, because this is why the session is called Thus We Gazed Upward. You look up to the sky and see your final monster you have to treat, your final creature to take care of is a storm elemental feathered serpent.
hell yes.
So
Easy.
easy. So thank you everybody for tuning in and watching us. This has been a fantastic series so far. And next week we're going to have our finale for this season, and maybe not the entire series. Hopefully we'll be able to find some time in the future to do a season 2 in some way. But regardless, I'm going to give everyone a little bit of time to, again, plug who you are, where we can find you. Just 1 to 2 things real quick. And then I'll start doing all of the stuff to like leave us out on a good note. I don't necessarily think we're rating anybody off the top of my head. So I think we can call that good after that. So with that said, I'm going to pass it on over to Gask first.
Hey, it's a me, Gaskinator. This is my Italian accent. Hello, I've been Gask. I've been playing Aster today. That was kind of spawned on by us making fun of Chris Pratt during the intro to this. I'll plug that. Always make fun of Chris Pratt every opportunity you get. That's my plug. Because otherwise I'm not working on any projects for the moment. Stay tuned and all that good stuff. I'll be here on this channel very soon, and then very soon after that. Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee.
Aha. With that being the case, moving on over to Nikki.
Hey everybody, I've been Nikki. I remain Nikki, I suppose. You can find me on most social medias under impoppyfield. I'm mostly on Instagram and TikTok, and you can find me tomorrow playing Phandalin by Night over on the Vancouver by Night channel. We start at 2 o'clock, where I play Denny the Tiefling Bard. Come by and check us out.
Pass it on over to the incomparable Minnie.
Hey everybody, my name is Herminia Salcedo. I go by Minnie. You guys can find me as Stalwart Ursa on all relevant and possibly dying social media sites. And on next Thursday, I am going to be playing Camp Carnage over on Friends Roll Dice. So it's going to be our final episode, I believe. So that's going to be pretty fun. Hopefully, I won't die. And then Friday, I will be the Black Spectrum Power Ranger over on Power Rangers Solar City for Bard Inspiration Network. So check those out. I'll have all the information on my Twitter.
Last but certainly not least, a personal favorite, Rue.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jadu or Rue. I played Ganon today. You can find me at my Twitter at Cherry Drop, where you can see my pin tweet that sends you to all the projects and everything I'm a part of. Currently not in anything at the moment, so just go ahead and check out my games and ratings.
Rue does good shit. Just letting everybody know. Everyone here does good shit, pretty much. That I love everybody. I can't even pick one necessarily. Hello there, folks. I'm Angela Lemos Mogravejo. I use she, her pronouns. I am a game designer, professional writer, and the director of operations over at Girls Write These Worlds. If you want to catch me in some upcoming things, we are going to have some fun one-shot stuff coming up here on this channel. Can't spoil too many details, but expect some fun Monster Hearts related things coming out real soon. And I have a cast of very thirsty people already super excited to play this game. And if you want to catch me running Slayer's RPG somewhere else, I'm going to be over on, I believe it's Ladies of D&D for in December, where I'll be running for some fantastic familiar folk from this channel and some other folks who are super interested and super psyched to be playing with us. And I'm super psyched to be running this one-shot scenario that I've gotten to run one time before, and that one was fantastic. But I just want to say thank you to all the folks who tuned in, whether it's coming in a little bit late, whether you're super interacting with the chat, or if you were lurking. We respect lurkers. We love our lurkers. Sometimes it's a lot to engage with the chat, and we respect you taking the time to tune into us. For folks who are able to, please consider subbing. We have to pay the Bezos tax with ads and other things, but your subs go a long way to making sure we have women and femme-centered work and stories being told, our producers being supported, and other folks just having more opportunities to share these kinds of wonderful, hilarious, dark, grim, fantastic, moody, emotional, chaotic stories with everyone. So be sure to remember that. And also, if you can, throw some money at some of the Ko-fis for different folks. Support our players, support the folks who are creating different things. And again, we love you all very much, and we look forward to having you here with us for our finale of our Monster Care Squad series, Year of the Tempest. And as a fun little tidbit for anyone who is interested, if you look back at all of the titles for our episode sessions, they all form a poem that I've actually written for this specifically, that I've had ready since the third session. So there you go, everybody. Fun tidbit. On that note, I don't believe we're going to be rating anybody necessarily, so this will be it. Thank you to... God damn, I just saw the Danny Tilapia movie budget comment. As always, bless you for being a wonderful audience. Bless my players for being the fantastic people who let me have work just creating fantastic stories and worlds for them to roam around in. And in these moments, especially during the holidays, that can be very difficult on folks, remember, if no one else is there to support you or be there for you, you got at least one person here. I love you very much. Take care of yourselves. Take your meds if you haven't taken them. I haven't taken mine, which is why I'm calling myself out in this too. Support yourself, support your body, and be there for the folks who need you. These are difficult times, as are often the case, and the greatest trick that has ever been pulled on people is convincing one another that we don't need each other. We do. We are interdependent on one another, and to act otherwise is to ignore the reality of many cores to the human condition. Love you all, everybody, and hopefully see you next week for our finale. I'm so excited, folks. Take care, everybody.